highlighting a lot of things for me about my gifts and how I'm supposed to be as it relates to my purpose. And one of the things that keeps coming up, like as the Most High sends me across people's paths to talk to them about romantic relationships or platonic business relationships, whatever, like this relationship that they have with self, whatever. As the Most High enlightens me, or as the Most High allows me to cross paths with these people to enlighten them, one of the things that always comes up is ego, right? Ego. And a lot of people lately have been talking about ego deaths and these different things. So I want to share with you this quick, simple, easy ego test, right, that you can do 101 on the clock. That'll help you, peace and love, that'll help you be able to identify if you're operating in your ego 111 on the clock. So often we don't recognize we're operating in our ego because we were raised to operate in our ego. We were raised to operate as though the number 3535 may be significant. We were raised to operate in our ego. We were raised to conduct ourselves as if ego is the beginning and the end, and the left and the right, and the good and then everything in between, right? 141 on the clock. Listen, here's the test. It's easy. I like to call it simplex. It's simple, but it's complex, right? If you are a person that you have this feeling in your spirit to do or to not do a thing, right? And then you have this thought in your mind, whether it's your own thought or if it's the thought of someone else in the back of your mind, like your mom, your dad, your cousins, your arch enemy, your bully from high school, or your coach who wasn't shit. Like, if you have that thought, right after you have that spiritual gut feeling, is what we like to call it, then your mind is trying to convince you to override your spirit. Your mind is trying to convince you to operate in your ego instead of flowing with your spirit. For example, if you get this gut feeling to, say, quit your job, and then suddenly you have all these thoughts in your mind, and you say, well, how am I pay my bills, and I don't know how I'm gonna do this, and I don't know how I'm gonna do that. That's your ego trying to convince you that it's safer to stay in a job that is not, has not, and will not ever serve your highest and best good, so that your ego can continue to run the show 311 on the clock. Your ego wants you to lose. Your ego wants you to compromise. Your ego, 321, your ego wants you to shrink. Your ego wants you to minimize yourself. Your ego wants you to essentially dissipate. Your ego does not want you to succeed. 3 views in here with 333 on the clock. Your ego does not want you to prosper in any capacity. So the test here for you, 345 on the clock. The test for you is to identify when you feel something spiritually, when you feel it in your spirit, hey, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then your mind or some type of thoughts try to convince you otherwise, that's your ego. Simply put, I don't know no other simple way to put it. I don't know no other simple way to put it. 411 on the clock. Somebody, it is right now. There's no other way to look at it. When your spirit tells you quit that job, when your spirit tells you leave that city, when your spirit tells you move away from your hometown, when your spirit tells you to go to a place or not go to a place, or to do a thing or to not do a thing, and then your mind tells you all the reasons or the ways of why you should or shouldn't do that thing, even though you know what your spirit told you, that's your ego. I remember having a conversation with someone not too long ago. 444 on the clock. You are protected. Trust that you are protected, that your spirit will never mislead you. That's for somebody specific. Peace and love be for me. Listen, you are the person. What was I getting ready to say, Holy Spirit? What? Because there's so many messages coming through right now. Your ego wants you to lose, right? 5:05 on the clock. Your ego wants you to lose. So recently I had a conversation not too long ago with someone, thank you, Holy Spirit, with someone about relationship, right? And so often in relationships, we can be so good about trying to convince ourselves that a person is good or bad or anything in between based off of what our logical mind is trying to tell us. And I had to explain this to someone, and she said something about how she had been reaching out to this guy and he wasn't getting back to her. She was like, she had texted him so many times and called him so many times, and she was just like, he wasn't getting back to her. So she was like, I'm not reaching out anymore. And I had to explain to her, I said, 5:55 on the clock. And I had to explain to her, I said, that's your ego. Keeping track, keeping count of different things about what you're doing to, with, or for someone, that's your ego. Constantly relating things a certain way because you think it's going to make you feel better, that's your ego. And she had to stop and take a moment to take that in. I said, because if your spirit is leading you to do something, if your spirit is telling you, hey, I want you to do this, if your spirit is telling you to do this, then you, by every righteous aspect of your being, have to do that thing for the betterment of you and whomever you are being led to do that thing for or with or to. But instead, your ego comes in and says, you don't need to do that. That ain't gonna work out for you in the end. You're gonna look stupid. That's your ego talking. People gonna look at you crazy. People gonna think you weird. That's your ego talking. That's why in order to fully become successful, that's why in order to fully prosper, in order to fully step into your full essence of who the heck you are, you have to let your ego go. You can't give your ego the front seat. That can't be in the back seat either. Pack his ass up and put him in the trunk. Pack his ass up and put him in the trunk somewhere and bring him out only when you need him. Okay. But yeah, y'all, that's the ego test. Peace and love. But yeah, that's the ego test. When you feel yourself wanting or needing to do something deep in your spirit, and your mind or something else tries to convince you that it's not what you're supposed to be doing, that is your ego. And you can literally check in with self. And let me be very clear. You do need to be able to check in with self and be able to say, okay, I hear what my spirit is telling me to do, and I'm not telling you to completely dismiss your mental, right? However, if every time you feel spiritually led to do something, you get all these negative or unhealthy thoughts in your mind, it's time for you to reprogram or deprogram, rather, so that you can realign with the true essence of your being. That's the message, beautiful beings. I love you. If you have not already heard it today, you're beautiful, you're amazing. Don't stop, don't quit. You is it. This is